Hello, my name is Daniel Macias, and this is my pitch first pass on a game I like to call Minion Invaders. The game is basically a turn-based strategy game in which you play as the evil bad guy, overlord, whatever you want to refer to yourself as, and you spawn and control minions, make sure you keep them upkeeped and well fed and stocked, and you use them to invade the land and basically conquer the whole region, world, or however the map would be pertaining to the difficulty. This would be the main game. This could be, for example, the easiest difficulty. Maybe you just want to capture the entire island. And this is where you would start, your capital. And then you can train your units and take over the strongholds. And you can spread your little sphere of influence. And each of these strongholds would contribute to minion upkeep, which we can talk about a little more later. But basically, this one could probably contribute an extra 3 food per turn, being it's surrounded by a lot of farmlands. And then this one could possibly have a lot of housing, so maybe it would contribute an extra 5 housing space for you to train more troops. This one could have maybe an iron mine, so you can better upgrade your troops' weapons and armor. And then each of these would also definitely have benefits similar to these, so that when you capture, you can take their benefits and use that to increase and upgrade your army and better take over the other strongholds. Now, referring to minion upkeep, here we can see we have a goblin squad, which is possibly 4 to 5 little goblins, and they would take about 2 food per turn. So every turn, 2 food out of your stock would be taken to feed this one goblin squad. On the other side, we have the orc hunting party, which orcs are obviously bigger and stronger than goblins, so maybe you have a little less units, but these take 4 food per turn. They would obviously deal more damage, they're bigger, so they have more health, and they would just essentially drain your food reserves a little faster in return for more health and damage. And then we have a troll, who is obviously the biggest of the 3, would deal the most damage, and they would take 6 food per turn. They would also have their own different housing, so this one maybe take 2 housing, then this one would take possibly 3, and then this one would take about 7. The main structure of this game would be attack and defense. So you would attack other enemy strongholds and capture them for your own gain, so that you can use them to, you can use their benefits to upkeep your army and make sure you stay ahead. And then defense would be, obviously, training units takes turns, time. And if you take too long without attacking, then the enemy is going to bolden up and they're going to start attacking you, trying to reclaim their strongholds and drive you out. So you want to keep enough pressure while also not throwing random bodies at them, because if you just keep throwing goblins and goblins at them, that'll embolden them as well and think, well, this dude has only goblins. Let's just go and take them out and, you know, reclaim all our forts. So it's a bit of a balance play you have to maneuver here. Obviously, the antagonist would be randomly generated. So you could maybe, one game you're fighting against a coalition of states trying to drive you out of their land. Another, you could be playing as a republic that just doesn't like you. Then maybe the third would be a dominion of different races, all banded together to, you know, defeat you. It would be a random government and name each time, which would really be more than just flavor text, but risks for this game, obviously, would be if we can actively do a randomized generator and have a list to make it seem, you know, infinitely randomized. If we were to animate all of these, then we would have to get a lot of models and all that. But generally, if this game were to be produced for maybe mobile phones, we can dial down and keep it relatively simple. Similar games, probably the Civilization franchise, or the popular Sid Meier's, would be very similar in scope. However, this would be purely based on attack and defense, whereas in that one you can maybe go for science or culture instead. I can't really think of any similar games off the top of my head, but I know there are plenty. And obviously, this is the end of my presentation. It dragged on a little longer than I had imagined, but thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.